country St. Martin has received the amount of 90 million guilders specifically designated for our capital expenditures, CapEx. However, I understand that it may not be clear about what CapEx entails and how it differs from operational expenditures, OPEX. I strongly believe in being transparent and providing clarity to the St. Martin citizens, hence why I would like to take this opportunity to clarify these concepts and explain how the funds of 90 million guilders are to be allocated. Understanding CapEx and OPEX. Capital expenditures refer to funds used by an organization or government to acquire, upgrade, and maintain physical assets such as property, government building, or equipment. CapEx is aimed at long-term investments that will benefit the country for many years, such as infrastructure projects, new schools, hospital, and transportation system. Hence, having these 90 million guilders to be able to execute these projects is a good start to the much-needed investment to be made on St. Martin. In contrary to capital expenditures, these are operational expenditures, OPEX, which are funds related to the day-to-day functioning of an organization or government. This includes expenses such as rent, utilities, and maintenance costs. In addition to those, you have your payroll-related expenses, and these other expenses ensures that our current operations run smoothly and efficiently. Allocation of the funds received. The 90 million guilders is solely to be used for capital expenditures and not to cover any operational costs of the country. Hence my remark during the press briefing when I said that it was stated by former MP William Marlin that a robust coffer was left, referring to the 90 million. Indeed, 90 million was left. However, I want to be very transparent to the public as to what this 90 million is for. This information can be found in the budget, which has been published for the year 2024. However, this is a big file, and it might not be easy to find the information you're looking for. Hence, my reasoning for providing this clarification. In addition, my intent is also to bring back the summarized budget for the public, which will give the public a quicker view and insight into the country's finances. The 90 million guilders can be broken down as follows. 7.2 million financed by the Netherlands for phase 1 of the prison, and this was for research phase. 5.8 million for a much-needed new ERP software system financed by the Netherlands via the TWO. 16.2 million for a new tax system financed by the Netherlands via the TWO. And lastly, 60.8 million was received for various projects financed via a loan provided to the country to be repaid over a 20-year period with an interest rate of approximately 3%. At this time, I will go further into detail about the projects to be financed via the 60 million guilder loan, which was received in November 2023. The capital investments to be financed by the 60 million guilders are across most ministries. Each ministry will use these funds for specific capital investment projects. These projects will enhance our infrastructure, improve public service, and ultimately contribute to the economic growth of our nation. And it starts with the High Councils of State, $40,000 for a vehicle. General Affairs, 2.2 million guilders for hard and software for ICT, vehicles for the Div Department, DCOM, and ministers. Finance, 136,067 guilders, and that's for the canteen for the receiver's office. After the hurricane of 2017, the devastation caused to the receiver's office, and in particular the canteen, with this now being budgeted, the canteen area can now be restored. Justice, 4.2 million. That goes towards technical application for immigration, which is a system that can manage and secure its day-to-day services, allowing faster passenger processing, encompassed with a 3-layer passport verification, also providing history details of passengers, face recognition, and risk of forgery of national documents. There are also vehicles allocated for the Department of Have Bay, that's 5. Immigration gets 3. There's also vehicles for CAPSM, 2 vehicles for the Lance de Charge, and furniture for the Immigration Border Protection Department, which is to mitigate neck, back, and shoulder complaints, as well as optimizing sitting positions through adjusted support, overall promoting of good health. Education, 7.2 million guilders. Goes towards hardware and software for the Education Department for public schools to enable the better use of ICT innovation. Digital tracking software school bus transportation for managing student transport, which will lead to cost savings. The roofing for the Dr. Martin Luther King School playground. Besides the right to education, every child has the right to rest, play, and participate in cultural or creative activities.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
Visitors of St. Martin. As you are aware, GB was affected by a devastating fire last Sunday, June 2nd. This unfortunate incident rendered 2 more engines inoperable. On Sunday evening, I informed the community about the gravity of our situation and the energy crisis in which we find ourselves. Our sole energy provider is currently unable to generate the power required to supply everyone. In response, a crisis team meeting was urgently convened with representatives from the Netherlands, Curaçao, Aruba, and St. Martin. Initially, we believed we could secure sufficient mobile generators from our sister islands. Regrettably, this was not the case. the quantities needed to mitigate our crisis and halt the relentless load shedding are not available. However, we are not deterred. The government, in collaboration with GB's management, is actively exploring alternative sources to acquire mobile generation units. A swift, short-term plan is being finalized to ensure these units are delivered and operational as quickly as possible, aiming to restore normalcy to our island. In the meantime, we earnestly ask for your patience and cooperation. We urge everyone to conserve energy wherever possible. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to the business community for their invaluable support in operating their backup generating systems, allowing GB to distribute power to more customers. We also commend the relentless efforts of the workers who are tirelessly striving to sustain energy production. Rest assured, this government is committed to keeping you informed about this critical situation. As soon as we receive more updates on this situation, we will inform you. Thank you for your attention, and may God continue to bless St. Martin.
We are going into the hurricane season. I don't know if all you realize what has happened this last week, from weekend to now. We lost GB based on load shedding and a total blackout, and then we lost TLM, and basically 70% of this island could not communicate. You couldn't call the ambulance, you couldn't call the police, you couldn't do nothing. Alarm systems were not working. People, these are serious consequences to your economy. We got to understand this. We speak of a cashless society, but your bank cards can't work because the company where you go to shop ain't got a generator. Think further than your nose. Look further, because these are problems that are derived from a common denominator: electricity. It isn't a luxury to have electricity. It isn't a luxury to have internet. It's a necessity, because that's how the world is turning today. Banks are telling you they ain't doing checks no more. It's all online. But if you can't get online, you can't do nothing. Now, again, I can sit here for an hour and throw blame. But I want to change that around. And I want to say, okay, I think we know basically who might have done what and who might not. But I'll tell you one thing. The campaign season will serve all of us well, because everybody gonna go there gearing up with all sorts of solutions and all sorts of BS. And they're gonna blame this one who was there the past 4 years, or they're gonna say it was from the clod, what he did, that's why it's so bad. And they're in the 2x4 government. Listen, none of that nonsense is going to bring St. Martin back to where it needs to be, where we can at least put on the lights and not go back to the 1991, 1993 era. Most of you all that are talking might not have been here at that time when GB took a serious plunge. From 1991 to 1993, where every day GB was off. Every day. And not for an hour. Sometimes for 6 hours. Again, we have reached a period now where in GB, the maintenance, not because they don't want to do it, but because most probably they can't afford to do it, or they can't take an engine offline, or whatever the question is or reason is. Right now, that's not relevant. You know what's relevant? That we find a solution like yesterday to get GB back, not even to N2, because N2 is wishful thinking. N-2, that's wishful thinking right now. What does N-2 mean for those that don't understand the terminology? It means that if you would lose your two biggest engines in the power plant, you still have enough capacity to run the plant, serving everybody with electricity. We lost the N-2 a while ago when engine 19 went down. And I will come to that engine just now, because this thing about we overhauling, Give a timeline, management. Give a timeline. Because what I am hearing is that the crankshaft is damaged. And if that crankshaft needs replacing, you are looking at most probably December of 2024. That is 6 months away, people. That 6 months, that engine will be offline. That's what people need to understand. Is it good that we start investing in generators or in solar panels? Or let me ask the question, do we have the money as residents to do that? You see, these are the things that as government, as trust fund, as the Netherlands, maybe if you want to help St. Martin, sending engines from Curacao and Aruba is a nice gesture, an appreciated gesture. It is, I think they said they're going to bring down 3 engines, 320 megawatt engines. That was great news. That's 60 megawatts. That's more than we produce every day. That's great to have 3 engines to do that. There is a problem though. Where we going to put them? On the dump? Because there is no place down in GB to put 3 engines like that. There is no place. So again, it sounds nice, but let's start thinking out of the box. What can you do in a situation like this? Now, I've spoken of this before. Let me bring it back to the forefront, because in St. Martin, the one thing we have a bad thing with is memory loss. We forget too fast. And because we forget, we don't know what we're going to do. But we need to look at GB right now in 3 phases. Short term, mid-term, long term. The short term is you need power now. Now, what can you do? GB has a couple of big users. Think on places like Maho. The whole Maho village and all them, they take a lot of electricity. They used to run their own power plant. GB took a turn on them and forced the government to tell them they got to come online. They can't stay offline because GB ain't going to make the money. So now they're offline and GB can't give them. They have a big solar plant down there. But I know they used to have Caterpillar engines. Maybe, just maybe, they can get back online with 2 megawatts. Supply themselves and take the burden away from GB. Port Plaisance was another one that used to have engines. Maybe we can get those back up and running. Take them off of the grid. Let them run. Give them leeway for a year or 2 so that they can make back the investment that they have to put on there to be able to give themselves electricity. Because we can't give it to them, and we can't continue knocking out hotels where tourists are paying big money to have a holiday. Think of the consequences. Because when we become, and forgive me for saying this, because I don't like to do this, when you become as unreliable for electricity as Haiti is, you ain't gonna get no tourists. There are other islands like Antigua, St. Kitts, Anguilla, Saba, Statia, where they're guaranteeing them electricity because they have alternative electricity. Nevis, all of them, they're full of solar energy. Only we don't have. But that is a mid-term solution right now. It is not anymore a short-term. A short-term solution is containerized power. Bring in containers where engines are installed in them, where it is a quick fix, not a just plug in water and fuel and pull an electricity card and put it in the socket and you got current. No, it's a little more than that. But it is a very efficient way, not necessarily a cheap way, but an efficient way to get reliable power back.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah, your social health insurances.
It's time for a new brand that is as bold, vibrant, and colorful as the island of St. Martin, with colors drawn from our diversity, cultural heritage, and nature. Our breathtaking beaches, waters, and sun, the majestic brown pelican, our national symbol, the radiant yellow sage, our national flower, the historic border monument signifying the Dutch and French sides, our exciting cruise, yachting, and boating ports, renowned Maho Beach and St. Martin Airport, the hub to the Caribbean. All these parts come together to create the shape of the island of St. Martin. More than a logo. It's a new brand that engages, excites, and will inspire travelers to book. It's time to tell the St. Martin story, to reintroduce travelers to St. Martin, to honor our past, to embrace our present, and shape our future. Our culture and diversity, Dutch and French sides, unrivaled cuisine, twice the nightlife, entertainment, and shopping, cruises, boating, and yachting, twice the adventure, exploration, and relaxation, splendid and scenic accommodations, Pinel, Tentamar, and island hopping in the Caribbean. Whatever your taste, St. Martin has more. Experience twice the Caribbean. St. Martin.
Robbery here at the Alliance monogram, where two armed men on foot entered, one wearing a construction vest, orange and yellow, both wearing masks over their faces. They pulled firearms and proceeded to held up the tellers within the establishment, and they demanded money, of which they received. A security guard who was on duty observed what was happening, also interacted with one of the men who demanded that he open the door. In an attempt to do so, there was an exchange of gunfire between the security guard and the gunmen, one of whom we believe to be hit as a result of the gunfire. They both escaped with an undetermined sum of cash, some of which fell on the floor. They both escaped in a waiting motor car. The motor car has since been recovered by the police, and we observed within the car that there were blood stains afoot, as also some blood stains were found within the establishment. So we are of the belief that one of the men were in fact injured, and we have also checked the hospitals. We have not found anyone as yet, so we believe that they went somewhere underground to nurse their injuries. But we're asking persons out there who know these individuals, know where they are, to communicate with police, either in Portmore 119, just contact the police and let us know so that we can proceed with the investigation. We have also advanced our investigation. I will not say much about that in terms of having someone in custody who we are interviewing right now in relation to the men who were involved in this robbery.
Can you tell us anything more about where the car was found?
The car was found in the Westmead area of the Bridgeport police area. But we have since taken that in custody. It will be processed with a view of obtaining evidence which will be of value to the investigation going forward.